Your Town Matters is funded by the Government of Canada through the Local Journalism Initiative and supported by Cactus Media, Canada's independent community television association.
Good evening and welcome to this Meet Your St. Stephen Mayoral Candidates Night. I'm Sarah Conley, the president of the St. Stephen Area Chamber of Commerce. This is the second virtual Candidates Night that we've hosted in the last year. And I'm really hoping that the next election we'll be able to all congregate in the same room. But however, we're just so appreciative that we're able to do a virtual event. So thank you so much to CHCO-TV for providing the venue and the production staff. I'd also like to thank Vicki Hogarth for moderating tonight, and our partners, the Town of St. Stephen and the St. Croix Courier. And of course, thank you to our candidates for putting their name forward, for showing up for our wonderful Town of St. Stephen. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our candidates. Our candidates are Vernon and Allan MacEachern. And I would now like to pass it over to Vicki Hogarth, our moderator.
Thank you, Sarah, Vernon, Allan, and everyone at home. Here's how tonight will work. Each candidate will have an opportunity to make an opening statement for up to 5 minutes, starting alphabetically with Vernon and followed by Allan MacEachern. Then we will proceed to the question period, beginning with Allan MacEachern. Both candidates will be given the opportunity to answer each question, and the order of response will rotate for fairness. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, questions had to be pre-submitted as there is no audience in attendance tonight. The Chamber has vetted the submissions to decide upon 15 final questions that represent the most prevalent themes and issues that are most important to the St. Stephen community. The two candidates, along with myself, will be hearing these questions for the first time tonight. The candidates will each have 2 minutes to answer each question. A warning bell will ring 15 seconds before the 2-minute mark, and then again at the 2-minute mark to officially end their response time. Candidates are asked to limit their answer to the time allotted. At the end of tonight's event, each candidate will be given 5 minutes to make a closing statement. The candidate who started the opening statements will go second for fairness. As has been mentioned, we are respecting COVID-19 guidelines throughout the production of this event, so there is no in-person audience. Instead, there are thousands of people watching from the comfort and safety of their homes, looking to familiarize themselves with their two candidates before heading to the polls. So let's get started. Vernon, you have 5 minutes to make your opening remarks starting now.
Well, thank you for hosting this event tonight. My name is Vernon. My wife and I have lived in St. Stephen for over 20 years, and on May 15th, we would have lived in Milltown Boulevard for 16 years. We love it. It's a great place to be. Our priority is family. Between Jill and I, we have 7 daughters and a stepson, 18 grandchildren, and we have almost that many great-grandchildren. So name tags are required at events. So one of the things that is causing us a little concern is the pandemic. As I said, we have a lot of children. We have none in St. Stephen. I mean, it's kind of bad we go to the store and see everybody with their grandkids and we aren't. So we're really hoping that the pandemic is over with quickly, and then we will have an open house. One of the things that a lot of people ask me is what I do. They don't see me around town. I've been working virtually, globally, since 2009 in my cockpit at home. I'm a professional accountant. I've been running my own business since 1990. I specialize in consulting and mentoring. The area I specialize in consulting is in strategic planning and finance planning for corporations, which definitely would be an asset for the town of St. Stephen, that type of expertise. I also get involved in mentoring, and I feel that I have a need to share my expertise, so I mentor for the community college. I have a company in Ottawa that is mentors for 38-year-old entrepreneurs and under, and I mentor CEOs in a company out of Los Angeles, and we do it all virtually. And it's quite rewarding, and it's all pro bono. Don't get a cent for it, but I get rewarded out of it. Now recently I've decided that I would like to have some involvement in the community of St. Stephen. So in March I was fortunate to be elected to the board secretary of the St. Stephen Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sort of on a sabbatical right now until 11th of May. And recently I felt very fortunate to be appointed by the Town Council of St. Stephen to the Innovation and Technology Committee, which was developed to look at suggestions on how to improve the operations and services of the town. And that vote of confidence, that meant a lot to me. Now, one of the other areas that really means a lot to me is recently I was a founding director of an organization, an international nonprofit. It's based in Colorado. It is coaching suicide awareness. Now, suicide is a major, that's an epidemic in itself. And most of us may have had family members or friends in that area. So what we do is twofold. We provide information to those that may be in a suicide crisis environment, but we believe that there are signs that one can see over a period of 8 months, 6 months, assuming it's not a tragic situation, that speeds up. So we provide training to organizations. I hope that that type of training that we can bring to this area, and that is for people to see that's a sign, watch out for it. We don't really want to get to a point where we have to provide information on intervention because a suicide is happening. Now, the last question I usually get is, why would I ever want to run for the mayor of St. Stephen? Well, I've had some political, I played around with politics a little bit, and I've had some people that were on some of my boards of directors when I was president came to me recently and said, we would like for you to run for the mayor of St. Stephen. We know what you're like running meetings. We know what your background, some of them I've worked with. They know my planning. I'm structured in nature. I interact with people well. I collaborate with people well. So I talked it over with the one that makes all the decisions in my house, and she said yes. She was a little reluctant, but it's just a lifestyle change. I mean, we're fairly solitary people working remotely, and now we will not be solitary people. We'll be in the community. So that is, I agreed. I agreed only if I would be full-time mayor. From what I understand, the challenges that are going to be coming with the municipal reform, with dealing with the hospital, with the problems associated with the dam, there seems to be so many issues that are coming up that I think it requires a full-time mayor. And I said yes, and I'm prepared to commit as much time and energy as I have, working towards enhancing the prosperity of this town and listening to the people. I believe that everybody, the citizens of this town are stakeholders, just like a shareholder in the corporation I'm used to. And we are here to listen and jointly develop a strategy and implement that strategy for prosperity and for the people to be happy here.
Thank you, Vern. Allan, you now have 5 minutes to make your opening remarks.
Well, hello and thank you to the residents of St. Stephen and Charlotte County, for everyone watching from other areas. Thank you. Thank you, Vicki, for hosting this event, and Chamber, thank you guys for helping put all this together for this version of Candidates Night. You know, while this is a very different format in the in-person's Candidates Night that we normally have, it's just something we got to deal with in these the COVID times. So I'd like to take the opportunity to share why I believe I'm the best choice to move forward here in St. Stephen and be your mayor. And by the way, I'm Allan MacEachern, if anyone doesn't know. And okay, so growing up in a small town, it's common to know most of the people in the community. We grow strong roots together. We face challenges together. We celebrate together. 5 years ago, I was part of a group that, I should say a team, who gathered with a mandate to attract 1,000 people to St. Stephen and the catchphrase quickly caught on where St. Stephen, the middle of everywhere, relating to close proximity in New Brunswick, in the state of Maine's major cities and airports, and everything in between. It's the terms of lifestyle and work that's needed, as well as the town size your life. relating to specifically to benefits of local living. So let's fast forward to today, the recent addition of the Beacon waterfront, not only bringing quality of life living to downsize to those getting their start out and everyone in between. The Beacon is not only added a valuable tax base to our community while at the same time opening up homes for purchase. I'm proud to have been part of the process to attract more real estate investment. I've made the connections and done and will continue to do the work. And most importantly, I've listened and understand what you want in terms of housing and quality of life. I will challenge anyone that says St. Stephen is not growing. Tradespeople, contractors are all book solid. And when the developers and major franchises are setting up shop in your community, this is a sign of confidence in St. Stephen. Fast food restaurants speak for themselves. When they set up shop in your town, they know things are coming, and they're ready for that wave. We also seen Downey Ford newly constructed state-of-the-art dealership. I'm going to tell you, when they saw all the growing around them, they looked out their window of their old shop and said, "It's time to make a move, and let's join this wave." The addition of the Giant Tiger, Cannabis New Brunswick, the major franchise Car Star, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, new orthodontics office currently under construction, Napa moving to their new location and opening up a sale of a historic building, once occupied, which is currently being renovated as a prime rental and creative space. Birch Corner that has opened during a pandemic, just 2 weeks ago. Five Kings Restaurant, a new bakery, Bernie's Body Blast, and building renovations, Sweeney's International new lab. You know, a lot of people don't know this stuff is all going downtown. A candy store, Sprees, Harper's, a daycare facility, Element 506, High Tides. I still get emotional when I read all this work that's gone in, and then the platform that we left, and the growing, just setting up the platform for people to want to build and take up that risk on the entrepreneurship. In the Milltown area, the conversion of the convenience store to a thriving Milltown market. We haven't even reached the industrial park yet. These are not minimum wage jobs. 2 large cannabis producers. We got potash producing coming on its way, buying property, where it's all this stuff. You know, the stuff takes time, so the groundwork's laid. I've been an active mayor for the last 5 years and councillor, deputy mayor for the preceding this. Anyone who knows or has worked with me in any capacity will fully understand that I am committed to something. You have my full commitment for me. I'm either all in or out. There's no in between. I'm always looking for opportunities. I've made strong connections with all levels of government, and which your mayor needs to be. And you got to be visible and accessible. You got to be out in the community. I'm a firm believer that St. Stephen and our surrounding communities work best when each other is succeeding. Supporting and complementing our individual strengths makes us stronger together. I've worked extremely hard to build solid relationships with neighbor and communities, and will continue to do this as your mayor. For the 9 years I have been in office, residential tax rate has not been raised. That's almost a decade. My mandate has always been to increase St. Stephen tax base versus raising taxes each year. In addition, we have worked diligently to ensure that we have reserve funds for emergency, and I've held that true to my commitment and fiscal responsibility.
Thank you. These questions were submitted by you, the voters. They've been vetted by the St. Stephen Chamber. Now we have 15 questions that you will each get the chance to answer. We're going to alternate again with Vernon starting first for opening statements. Allan, you're going to start first for questions. And again, 2 minutes to answer each question. We will be hearing the bell at around the 15-second mark, or exactly at, I should say, the 15-second mark before your time is up, and again at 2 minutes, and that is when your time is up. I'll be hearing the questions for the first time right now along with you. None of us have heard the questions before now. Are we ready to get started? Okay. So Allan, you're up again because there are just 2 of you. We're going to alternate this way. Question number 1. Allan, where the pandemic should be everyone's priority right now in helping things get back to some sort of normal, how will the town jump in on getting St. Stephen back on the map to outside visitors to come back to shop, build, and live here? How is the Civic Center going to be incorporated into this? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, so as far as the pandemic, I'm very proud to say that the town of St. Stephen's taken an active role in that, and you know, we had a COVID team right from day one, meeting and keeping up to date on what's going on. So yes, it's very important to come out of this pandemic. So right now during the pandemic, we're working on staycation type avenues right now to keep the people moving in our province, as we're allowed, as the protocols will allow. So we're doing that. We're not just stopping during COVID. Myself and the team that are working on building this community, we're still working hard even though there's a pandemic going on. We're working on the Basketball First project, so once things can open up and we can start using these things and create tourism. We just for far as the Civic Center dealing with, we have with helping people during the pandemic, we have an events coordinator and their team working on anything that they can do, and they haven't stopped during this pandemic, and I'm proud to say that they've done very well at that, considering the changes and how quick they change. They change at 3 o'clock sometimes on a Friday, and we got to act on it by 5. So anyways, they've done a very good job with that. It's really important to still keep the community together and make people feel comfortable. And during the pandemic, because there's different lifestyles that are affected differently during this pandemic. Some want to freely go around and some don't feel comfortable. So you got to work with all the walks of life during this pandemic, and you got to handle that the best you can, and know who you're dealing with in your community. So thank you.
Thank you, Allan. And I will mention, I'll repeat the question for both of you each time, even though it'll be the same question. Vernon, you are up for the same question. I'll read it to you now. Where the pandemic should be everyone's priority right now in helping things get back to some sort of normal, how will the town jump in on getting St. Stephen back on the map to outside visitors to come back to shop, build, and live here? How is the Civic Center going to be incorporated into this? Your 2 minutes start now.
I think the town has done a pretty good job in the area of the pandemic. I go to the Civic Center every morning. I always like it when it gets yellow because I don't have to wear a mask walking. We're very, we're a rural community. We understand that we have a responsibility for each other to, with regards to their health. So it's a personal situation that the town has to operate within the guidelines that's set by the federal and provincial government. Now we start getting into the attracting people here. One of the biggest concerns I have is that we don't have a hotel. Now, if we had a hotel and COVID was gone, we had the Atlantic bubble and the border was open, we would have phenomenal opportunities to attract people here. We would have more events at the Civic Center, but people have to have a place to stay. And that's one of the biggest concerns when you say, when we come out of a pandemic, how do we increase tourism? Well, we cooperate with other tourism associations, but we need to have a facility, a hotel here. If I want to attract a large corporation here, and I want to bring them in and wine and dine them, where do I bring them? If I want to have an event here with regards to highlighting St. Stephen, how do we do that? Because people have to come here, and we have really no quality place to put them. So tourism, hotel, I think they go hand in hand with this town.
Thank you. Now, because of the way we're doing things for fairness and alternating, Vernon, you get to go first for question 2. So here we go. Question 2, when will St. Stephen ever see better roads with our infrastructure? The roads and sewers are in a deplorable state. Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, one of the things people have to realize, we have provincial roads here, and for those we have a 5-year plan we have to submit to the province. And then our local roads, we have to plan in advance. We have to have criteria, and I think they do. They have criteria in which determines what is to be done. There's only so much money in the pot, but we have to look at the latest technologies. We have to look at other communities as to what they're doing. We have problems with patching of roads. Asphalt's expensive. Maybe other communities are looking at recycled asphalt. Other communities are looking at having used paving equipment to do the like where sewer dug up and you want to pave it. But I think there's the engineering department, I assume, has a long-range plan. I assume that they look at such things for roads as to heavy usage. Maintenance, is it costing more now? Should we do something about it and pave it? Also the roads, that come into the town. Do we want somebody to come into our town and first, lose a rim? We don't want that. So there's a whole bunch of criteria to determine where we pave, whether we maintain, and the rule I always say, if you're going to do it once. Don't go fix the hole 3 times. But there's technology to do that. And I think that, with regards to sewers and water, that's a challenge. And that would be an engineering responsibility, a municipal planning engineer. And I don't know if we have one, or I assume we do. I haven't gone and looked detail as to the staffing of it. It's one of the first things I'll do as mayor, is to look at and do a value for money audit of everything. Are we spending our money right? Is it on a service or is it something else? Do we have the talent? So that is what I will do with regards to finding cash for roads, infrastructures. First, save the money, and second, find cheaper ways of borrowing too.
Thank you, Vernon. Allan, same question for you. When will St. Stephen ever see better roads within our infrastructure? The roads and sewers are in a deplorable state. Your 2 minutes start now.
That's a very common question that you get as mayor and council. You always want the potholes fixed, and you'll continue that. Which one of us is in that seat? Well, you'll get to hear that call every year, all year. So to that question, I am very proud of the streets that we have got completed. We've got some major water and sewer separations in our area. I could list them all off. But it's not just fixing the streets. That's the pretty stuff on the top. It's all that infrastructure on the bottom that underneath it costs all the money. But every time we replace that water and sewer and separate our water and sewer, you're saving our taxpayers money. So because we're not treating on water that our sewer doesn't need to be treated or runoff. So anyway, so we're focused on that. Yes, as Vern said, there's a 5-year plan on all provincial highways, and there's also a plan on all the other secondary streets in our town that aren't highways. Is there only so much money to do so? Yes, there certainly is. But one thing I've been focusing on is not raising taxes. I've kept the tax rate for 9 years now, and so increasing assessments. Increasing our tax base so we have more money. And then you have more money, you can fix streets and you have more available. But it is always going to be a challenge in Charlotte County and in this part of the province to fix streets. It'll never go away. It's going to be a constant battle. So it's something that you just always got to attend to, and it's a seasonal thing that we have to deal with. But we are working hard at it, and we've done very many streets and curbs and gutters and all that thing. So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Allan, and you're up again for question 3. Is there a possibility of building a marina along the waterfront as part of the BIA action plan for improvement of the downtown core? Your 2 minutes start now.
Yes, always a possibility. We've had many discussions with different people that would be in that world. It's a challenge. It's a tidal river, so you're always talking. Any of the boat users will tell you that the tidal river is a hindrance because of fuel costs and stuff like that. Because we were talking about connecting St. Andrews and St. Stephen together and doing little retreats from back and forth and keeping people in our area for 3 days. So it was a goal, and which is something we looked at. We have looked at a marina for sure, and setting it up. And of course, you get the ice in the river and all that, so it's got to come out at certain times of year. There's also the very huge possibility, as I mentioned earlier in my opening statement, one of the new businesses we have is Sweeney Corps. And what do? They're boats, and they would definitely welcome something like that too, so it would help increase their business as well. But yes, always a possibility, but there's nothing carved in stone on that. But definitely have many discussions on how to build it, where to place it, and using it for moving people from one community to the next and building up our tourism and work in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Vernon, is there a possibility of building a marina along the waterfront as part of the BIA action plan for improvement of the downtown core? Your 2 minutes start now.
I think the first question would be, could you get environmental approval? I mean, we're looking at a waterfront. We're looking at I know there was challenges with regards to building the Civic Center as it relates to environment. I think every opportunity, every idea should be investigated. But I think that you should look at, the inhibitors first before you spend a lot of time and money in developing an opportunity. And if it's a marina, I worked in a marina company in Florida, so I have a pretty good idea what it takes to build a marinas. And as Allan says, free-flowing water, ice. And then the other aspect is the environment. You got pollution, you're dealing with motor compared to sail. I think that all opportunities should be investigated, but I think the inhibitors should be looked at first before you spend a lot of money on it. And to me, the inhibitor is the environment.
All right, thank you, Vernon. And you're up again for question 4. What can the town do to play a role in tackling the extreme housing shortage in our region? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, one of the things in my plan for sustainable economic development is to develop a partnership with the developers, with subdivisions, with all the people that do provide either single homes or apartment buildings. And when we're looking for new businesses to come to town, that's going to be an inhibitor. No, I know Allan and I were on a report lately. It says travel and apartments or housing is an inhibitor to economic development here. But we can get together with those that can build the apartments, that we can have the subdivision, take them with us to potential employers. And then if we can get an agreement with that they are interested, I'm quite sure we can leverage the provincial government for upfront money to build apartments, to build subdivisions that would then again attract businesses. So it is a problem. I mean, here in St. Andrews, with regards to the community college, if they want to work somewhere, how do they get there? Where do they live? They have to leave May in order to get out of the apartments here. But it is a challenge, and it is one of the biggest challenges for the current residents and one of the biggest challenges for economic development. I think there was only 25 houses for sale 2 weeks ago in St. Stephen. I mean, and what's that going to do? That's going to drive up the assessment. But what I'm saying is similar to Allan, that we need to enhance the assessment base. We bring business in here, we bring more people, I believe we can reduce the tax rate.
Thanks, Vernon. Allan, you are up with the same question. I'll read it again. What can the town do to play a role in tackling the extreme housing shortage in our region? Your 2 minutes start now.
So yeah, what can the town do? The town's been actively working on this for quite a couple of years now, actually. Hence why we pushed to have a study done. And the reason behind that study we had done, which showed 0.03% vacancy rate. So we had to get the study done because there is developers out there that want to develop, but they have to get their hands on funding. And to get funding, they need studies, and studies prove that you needed this. Anyway, so we knew it was there. That was one thing we tackled, was getting the study done. Yes, we work hand in hand with all developers. We've been doing it now for quite a few years now. And we developed the whole downtown, and we're still working on that. So you do have to encourage development. You got to be connected to developers. Me personally, that's one of my loves. So that's something I really enjoy doing, is encouraging development and building and work. We just settled a deal there for 24 units to be built on Prince William Street. And we just finished the Beacon. I mean, that's 50 units right in our downtown core, 50 people. So as Vern was saying, and as I'll always say, is the more people, is the more taxpayers, more growth, is more assessment and more money. And which by the way, just last year was $7 million of more assessment. So again, so definitely, it's definitely an issue. It is driving up the cost. It's crazy what we're going through right now. So I also work together with all the other communities. As Vern said about the community college, they're having the same issue, trying to get property in behind and to house people to get to their schools. So if we can't get people in the schools, guess what? You're losing your builders. So anyways, so there's so many connections, so that you're better off working with your other counterparts in your area to work with or convince government that they do need to do it, because there's power in numbers when you get all the communities together to take on that fight, because it is a big fight we have to take on, and it's a very serious matter.
That's time, Allan, and you're up again. Question 5. How do you plan to be available and accessible for the citizens of St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
How do I plan to be available and accessible? I mean, I don't know if everyone out there on the TV world know that, but I am available and accessible. I am the guy. I'm the guy that you see at the store. I'm the guy that loves to talk. I love to talk and get a feeling of our community. That's my specialty. You know, I just love to hear what the community wants to do. Whether the community knows it or not, when there's a tough decision, I throw it off them. We have a conversation. They don't even realize that they're part of the solution. So that's just, again, you can ask my wife when I go to the store. You know, it's not 5 minutes to grab that loaf of bread. I'm there, and you know, I enjoy doing. I enjoy running into people. It's the best opportunity to be able to do that. It's been tough during COVID times, you know, but it's coming back, and I'm looking forward to getting back out with the community and doing that. So I can't stretch that anymore. I am available. I am accessible. You know, I will say Vern's talking about full-time mayor. Well, yes, I do work, but that makes me even more available because I'm out there. I'm not behind a desk. I'm there. I'm out working with people, and people you work with have ideas and great input as well. So, yeah, I'm available as you can get. So, thank you.
Thanks, Allan. Vernon, same question. How do you plan to be available and accessible for the citizens of St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, as Allan said, I believe I don't want to do a part-time job. I've never done a part-time job. This is a full-time job. We got the municipal reform. There are so many things that have to be done. But I agree, there have to be out in the community. And that is something I will have to do. I have not been doing that, and the reason being is that I've been working globally. But being a full-time mayor, there is a role you have to play. You go and obtain the input. That you can't ask people just to come to you. I mean, some of the things Allan's doing, I think that's, you know, I learned from that. And I think that, I think it's important. But I think you have to be a full-time, you have to be available 24/7. I know Allan's, 10 o'clock at night is probably not an unbelievable time to be out working. But I'm available 24/7. I don't have any other priorities to do other than represent the people of St. Stephen as mayor.
Thank you. We are on question 6 now, which means we're a third of the way through the question, so that is great. And we're starting again with you, Vernon. What are your priorities for spending to stimulate economic growth in the area? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, I've just prepared a discussion paper, which is on my Facebook page. I have a video that I've done, which will be out this week. I believe that this town has a lot of strengths. When the border opens, we have the capability of what I call a forward trade zone. It's something I've worked on and others worked on in order to attract industry here. We need to accentuate our strengths. We need to put together a package to go out to people. And again, one of the keys is the hotel. And we have to look at the infrastructure around town. We have to look at the industrial parks. What do potential employers, and I'm talking manufacturing, processing, and fabrication. The service companies will come because the demographics there, the disposable incomes are there. So we will look at looking for jobs as $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, and benefits. That will be the focus. Now, we will still look at our existing businesses. How do we help the entrepreneurs? I was impressed with my exposure to the chamber, the number of young entrepreneurs we have in town. And then my experience in mentoring entrepreneurs. It's phenomenal, the desire, especially in a pandemic. I mean, a lot of people just living on Zoom. I deal with people all over Canada, and they're finding it challenging to try to start a business, can't get to their customers. Now, that is not just in St. Stephen, but we have entrepreneurs here, and I think the town can do something there as well, help them grow. So we look at a sustainable economic development plan. We tie in our municipal plan to ensure the infrastructure is there. We get involved with the subdivisions and the builders to ensure that we have the place to put people. It's a package. And I know how to do that because that's my job. I develop strategic plans for organizations.
Thank you, Vernon. Allan, what are your priorities for spending to stimulate economic growth in the area? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, so spending is dollars. So what one of us will get to find out, I already know, is there's not a lot of money to spend. So you got to be creative. You need to help provide property, land at good deals that help encourage development and and that helps encourage development by helping them sustain a business case. You also have to work with their provincial counterparts and also work with getting land as well. So you also have to develop a development plan. So it might not be using money you have now, but money you gain later from the new development with a 20-year plan sort of thing. You know, you're more or less taking the taxes that you make and you're giving it back to the developer and helping their business case. So you got to be creative. Also, you know, Vernon was saying, you know, he's got an expertise in developing plans. Well, guess what? We have a whole table of experts that are very good, and a good group of people at Future St. Stephen that I work with daily. And I don't need to know it all. I just need to add my flavor to that. And there's many flavors around that table, and it's been a very good experience. There's not a school in the world that I could go to pick up what I've learned in that room. And yes, you're correct. The chamber, I mean, entrepreneurs in this community has been unbelievable. We set the groundwork out, and they're finally taking a risk on this community because they can see it. There's always this dream they've had to want to do. So what do you do to encourage that? You create the community, create the atmosphere to make them feel comfortable, do what you can to support them. We roll out the red carpet for anyone that's even thinking about setting up shop. We answer the questions, we, you know, get them through all the hurdles, all the little bylaws and all the little things, you know, that sometimes people don't think of because they're just focused on their dream. And we do that.
Thank you, Allan, and you will be up again. And I do want to reiterate for people at home, these are questions submitted by voters from the area. They are being heard by you and me for the first time tonight. Question 7, Allan, you are up once again. What are your thoughts on the decommissioning of the Milltown Dam, and how would you address this issue with concerned citizens that are opposed to it? Your 2 minutes start now.
2 minutes isn't going to answer this question, but the Milltown Dam, I'm still not sold on, you know, I could have gone either way on that, but the facts still say leave it there. It's been a frustrating deal to be part of. There's so much stuff that it just blow your mind what goes on behind the scenes with the province and with MB Power and all that sort of thing. I just wish I didn't know what I knew. Anyway, I've been investigating facts. I've been talking to the American counterparts and senators over there on what needs to happen. Again, I've made my case out there in the community. They know where I stand. They haven't proved me otherwise, but it's just not the right thing to do at this time. It's green power. We have developer ready to roll, you know, to take this off their hands. To me, to spend $25 million plus to remove this dam, or $15 million over 30 years, there's a big difference. $15 million is a lot cheaper over 30 years than $25 million today. And again, it's not doing what they're going to say it's going to do. If they were to do more dams, which again, like I said, I was talking to senators on the American side, that there's contracts on those, international contracts, those dams aren't coming out. So this is just the low-hanging fruit right now. And it's easy, and they want it, they got the opportunity to do it. But still, I don't support it, and Allan MacEachern's not going to be sitting on his porch when he does decide to retire and be known for someone that supports something of that magnitude, because when it's gone, it's gone. And let's not talk about tourism. And I can get into tourism and different budgets and silos in this government. And you want to talk about getting something wound up, is they don't communicate. The two budgets don't communicate, and they don't realize this budget can make money off this thing, and they don't care on this budget. They think of their energy part, but there's so many variables in play to that. Anyway, I could talk hours on the Milltown Dam.
Thank you, Allan. Vernon, same question. What are your thoughts on the decommissioning of the Milltown Dam, and how would you address this issue with concerned citizens that are opposed to it? Your 2 minutes start now.
I'm in agreement with Allan. I have a video coming out tomorrow. It's all about the dam. And besides the opportunity we have, it's a major asset here. Where would you want to, you know, the companies that could come here and have their own generate electricity. But again, I like to say, Allan, I go to that location every spring, you know, to watch the water and hear the sound. There's history there. In 1928, the St. Stephen Calais was one of the top economies in North America. In 1929, the Depression. That is history there. That mill is history. Besides it being an asset for economic development, it's history. And It's something we probably didn't realize until someone tried to take it away from us. And I think that what I've done is again, do the video. I think I was participated in an online event, which was basically to tell us what they were going to do. I think that this is just part of an overall strategy in MB Power to get rid of all hydro dams and use Hydro-Quebec. That's my feeling. When you start looking at decommissioning, it's just preparing themselves for sale. So I think that the motive is not environment. The motive is not First Nations. They may benefit some, but the motive is bottom line for MB Power. And how do we do that? Well, I think it has to be the will of government. Who owns MB Power? The government. If the government does not take a position, I have no idea where our MLA stands on that. And it appears she's quite quiet. I think that it's challenging when you don't have a government that supports rural New Brunswick.
Thank you, Vernon. You will be up again for question 8. We're moving all along here. Where do you see the town of St. Stephen in 5 years? Please give specific examples of town improvements that you will seek out as mayor. Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, the first thing is a hotel. I mean, we really can't move forward with economic development without a hotel. I think that we need a plan. As I said, we have an economic development discussion paper that talks about fabrication, manufacturing, and processing. We need to attract that. We need to have I don't know where I think we basically just need to have more land and our ability to have more industrial parks. I just put out my suggestion with regards to municipal reform that would incorporate the 5 LSDs around us. And we have a population of about 9,900, but we would have way more land to work with. And that would allow us to have industrial parks. And so as to where, I think my plan is 1,000 jobs. And I think we can get that if we deal with what I call Atlantica, which is the whole area of a Ford trade zone. We need more homes. So what's it look like? More homes, more businesses, larger tax base, lower taxes. I think that's all I can't say specifically because it will be the developers, it will be the new businesses as to where they want to be.
Okay, thank you, Vernon. Allan, where do you see the town of St. Stephen in 5 years? Please give specific examples of town improvements that you will seek out as mayor. Your 2 minutes start now.
I'm excited about 5 years. I'm excited about what we see now. I come off that highway entering St. Stephen. It just amazes me when I come off the off ramp and see all the new development, the flags flying. I drive through town, I see busy streets. And so 5 years from now, you're going to see a tremendous amount of growth. There's new industry. You know, we're working on that hard, and that's big jobs. That's 300 plus people, good paying jobs. So we got to get that in place, and that'll even help. You know, you need industry. You need those good paying jobs to help sustain a community, and that's what built this community. So we got to continue on with that. So yeah, I'm excited about 5 years. I'm excited now. I mean, but anyway, so I'll be even more excited here in 5 years. There's so much growth, there's so much energy, so much positivity in our communities. Vern touched on reform. I'm looking at that very hard. That's not all something that, you know, everyone looks at thinking that the town wants this. We don't know for sure if we want this. I need to see the business case on that. That's not very densely populated. There's a lot of stuff to look after there. So I'm very curious on how that plan is going to roll out. So we're watching that hard. You know, you could inherit something that and be more of a burden to your community. So anyway, we gotta deal with our punches when they come, and it could be a good thing. But I am following it. I've been studying what's been happening in Nova Scotia because they're already ahead of us on this, and I have people that have been involved in that, and I've shared their experiences. You know, there's not an easy road. You know, it took Greater Halifax, Halifax 4 years to recover from the amalgamation of the two cities. Anyways, yeah. So again, I can't say any more. And then I am excited about the future here. You know, you've seen it so far. You have people that come from away that haven't been away for a period of time, and they come home, they're shocked of what we've done here in St. Stephen. And I owe that to everyone in the community that's done that. So thank you.
Allan, you're up again. And on the same topic of growth, we're moving on to question 9. Are you open to attracting large retail businesses such as Costco or Walmart to increase the growth of the town and Charlotte County? Or do you feel they would detract from our small town charm? Your 2 minutes start now.
So am I welcome to large retail? If the groundwork's there for them to set up shop, they're going to set up shop. I mean, are we going to encourage it and help fund it? That'll be something we have to deal with when we get to it and we see the math. I'm definitely in support of small businesses because small businesses hold your community together. There's many small businesses add up to a large business. So, when you have a large place come, like let's use Sobeys for example. When they leave, they're done, and you're losing, 100 employees instantly. Small businesses absorb all that because they're small businesses. And so I would, I wouldn't be encouraging and funding with taxpayers' money on large retail. And again, but I wouldn't discourage anything coming to town either because, your community would build up as well. So, we've added on, we brought in annexed new property out there. The development's in place for anything that wants to hook on to that. I noticed the hotels were brought up a few times tonight. Definitely want a hotel. That's a very challenging thing. We got the whole double tax thing holding it back. We got developers ready to go. And then now we get COVID. So, no one's going to start a business there now. It'd be nice to get them start building now and be ready. But anyway, that would be a large franchise as well. So, that's about it.
Thank you, Allan.
Thanks.
Vernon, are you open to attracting large retail businesses such as Costco or Walmart to increase the growth of the town and Charlotte County? Or do you feel that they would detract from our small town charm? Your 2 minutes start now.
With a population of what we have right now, I don't think either one of them would find it financially feasible. The disposable income wouldn't be here. The one I'd be concerned with is Walmart. The history of Walmart moving into rural communities is it just decimates their small businesses. And it turns it into not a community base, but if you go into a small community at Walmart, everything's focused on Walmart. Even the community, you want to go to Walmart. And the history and the precedents have been set in the U.S. and other locations. Walmart destroys rural communities. But I don't think Walmart will be the demographic. If we were at 15,000, something like a Sussex or Quispam Sis, I think that you may start looking at having sufficient disposable income to attract these. But there is a concern, and that is, what does it suck out of the town compared to what it gives to the town?
Vernon, you're up for question 10. How would you improve our town's downtown core, Main Street, specifically the deteriorating state of many buildings and the promotion of green spaces or outdoor venues such as patios?
I think that the first thing we need, and Allan know better than me, is that we would have the expertise that would be able to take a look at all this property and the history of this property, and how do we mold it so that it is able to utilize the history, utilize what's there, can do it from the point of view of the environment, and also from the point of view that it can be an economic generator for the town. Buildings on Main Street should have something in them, and they should be providing either service or having products. But I would need to obtain the expertise of those that have experience in dealing with downtown cores, older buildings, and how to bring them up to a point where they are available for people to use them, but not to remove the heritage of the buildings or to infringe upon the green areas of the town.
Thank you, Vernon. Allan, same question. How would you work to improve our town's downtown core, Main Street, specifically the deteriorating state of many buildings and the promotion of green spaces or outdoor venues such as patios? Your 2 minutes start now.
Yeah, so downtown, is something we've been working on for quite a while. So there is some buildings that need to come down sometimes. And we have taken lots of land, so we've invested money into taking up that property, so you have a group of properties, so you can encourage a developer to set up shop. So we make that land presentable and easy for a developer. Green spaces, I mean, a lot of that stuff has just happened. You know, that the trail that connects all those businesses downtown, paved trail, the users of that is just phenomenal. So in creating a platform for people to be able to get around easier in your downtown will also encourage new development as well. The other thing that's happening, I mentioned it in my thing there, is the Napa moved up to beside the Dooleys, and another developer took over an old historic building. It's amazing what's going on, and that's catching on. You know, people are seeing that, and she's sharing that, and it's catching. You know, people are seeing that. Geez, we got a lot of history in this town, so they're investing money. And another thing about our downtown is the shopping experience in these historic buildings, and when I say experience, there's also an experience shopping in them. So everyone's not just looking for a place to go shop and get their product. They're shopping for the experience as well. So, you know, there's an entertainment factor of getting into an old store and the smells and the feels. So we're working on that type of thing too with all our entrepreneurs. Yeah, so creating a good downtown. We've done the streets, the sidewalks just recently. All that's been taken care of. We put the infrastructure on the ground to support the new development. For example, the piece of property that we just put in, we made sure the water infrastructure was there for it. And also there's bylaws in place and zoned properly that you need to put retail in certain storefront, or in the store or the front street areas facing the sidewalk. You need to have retail as part of their development plan to be able to do anything in that zone.
That's
Thank you.
Time, and you are up again, Allan. We are on question 11, which means we're on the home stretch. We're 2/3 of the way through. In view of the climate crisis we are experiencing, what actions are being taken now, or will you press for in the future to help mitigate its effects on our area? Your 2 minutes start now.
Yeah, that's a very busy and challenging topic. Again, we've already taken action on that. The new wharf upgrade took that in consideration. It's been raised and dealt with. The shorefront been shored up to take on any incoming water to help protect our downtown businesses. Flood mitigation project that we did out by the mall system. I mean, that haunted us twice, if not 3 times. You know, I've been in it. I've been in the water. Believe me, it's emotional watching stores be underwater. Well, that's been taken care of. We took care of flow of water, you know, and let the professionals do their thing. And we worked with all the counterparts, the railway, Crombie, the province, and taking care of that issue. Because it's going to be a constant issue, but water seems to be a big issue for us. So we are trying to control that. And so we took care of that out there. So also working with finding areas the weak areas that have a chance of flooding. So you have to map those out. So all that stuff's being done. So any building that's going on has to be built to certain standards or the right setup. So high or whatever. If you do build into these certain areas, so we're protecting our citizens that way as well. And so not discouraging development, but you're just changing the way you develop to be prepared. That's an ongoing and a learning issue, and we're working hard at that daily. Thank you.
Thank you, Allan. Vernon, in view of the climate crisis we are experiencing, what actions are being taken now, or will you press for in the future to help mitigate its effects on our area? Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, first of all, I would leverage all the work that's being done now by the town. It sounds like that they have a good handle on the water side. I would also bring in the environment people from the provincial government and other expertise to see where there's risk, because we have to look at where are the risks. We don't want to be surprised. And so they would assess our whole community, not just from water, but other forms of environmental changes that could have a negative effect on our town. And we would then look at what we can do with that. As Allan said, there isn't a whole bunch of money, but when we're dealing with environment, I'm quite sure there'll be a whole bunch of money. There seems to be a lot of money for green technology, green coming out of Ottawa. But I think I would leverage what is being done now, using that as a base, and getting the expertise that we need to determine, is there a risk in the future, and where is it, and how do we do it, and how do we get the money to implement what we need.
Thank you, Vernon. You'll be up again next on question 12. I do want to remind everyone at home, You are hearing these questions for the first time. I'm reading them for the first time tonight, so I'll commend you right now just on how well and how smoothly this night is going. Vernon, what do you see as the most pressing issues St. Stephen faces now that need to be immediately addressed by Mayor and Council? How would you address it? Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, the first is hotel, because our whole economic development is based on that, the survival of the Civic Center. You know, I feel that if we had a hotel there, if we had it there from 2016, we would have been a lot of money injected into the community. We would have had a lot more money into the Civic Center, but we haven't. So basically, we move forward. The priority is looking at a hotel. The next priority is to look at what planning's being done, who are we trying to attract, what partners do we need, and move forward on attracting businesses to this area. And businesses, I look at businesses from fourfold. I look at the criteria. Number one, we want businesses that have jobs that are $20 or more, 40-hour and benefits. We want to make sure that they do not need financial support from the government, federal, provincial, after 2 years. We want to make sure that they satisfy the environmental criteria of the town, and we also want to make sure that the community is involved as to who comes to this town. You know, this is a rural community. There may be certain businesses that may not be compatible to the culture of St. Stephen. So there is criteria that we have to have in order to ensure that what we bring here is just not a one and gone. You know, they're here, use government money. After a year and a half, they're gone. Besides a hope that was, it's now a despair that exists. So that's basically how I would handle that.
Thank you, Vernon. Allan, same question. What do you see as the most pressing issue St. Stephen faces now that needs to be immediately addressed by Mayor and Council? How would you address it? Your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, immediate is housing, accommodations. We're holding back our industry that is trying to bring in employees, so we need places for them to stay. Yes, they're in action, but they should have been in action long ago. But anyway, it took a study, it took some pushing, it took some shoving to get it to where we are today. But anyway, you got to encourage that type of development. Accommodations is a very serious problem, not just a St. Stephen problem. That's Canada-wide actually. But anyway, it's holding back industry. They got contracts they could take, but they can't take them because they got employees. And speaking of employees, immigration. You got to focus on immigration as well. That's a much needed. We need that to keep our workers going, keep our industry going, and that again, that's wide and that's a very challenging job. But to do that, you got to be involved. It doesn't just take mayor and council to do that. You need to. A lot of this is a provincial and federal issue, and you need to help support or get together with your other counterparts in the region and push hard with it as a whole. Like I mentioned earlier, numbers help. But the other one is the hotel. If I keep hearing the hotel. There's contracts in place for hotels, but they're just not happening. We got a developer that will come out, build on the highway tomorrow if we get rid of that double tax. We got to get rid of that double tax. We got to work on a province. I know they tabled it, but they need to get it. I get it. It's an $80 million question, but the money that could make tenfold if they let development take over and let it do its thing. So we need to get that. Definitely hotels are holding up things. I get it, but it takes developers, and you got to encourage it. It takes more industry, which we're working on. That new industry comes, that's going to encourage even more and help the numbers and help the business case for that hotel. Because all their investors need to be satisfied, and it takes those things to help them be satisfied.
Fortunately, you're up right now all over again. So here we go. Question 13. What is your long-range vision for St. Stephen, and how do you hope to accomplish this? Your 2 minutes start now.
Long-range vision. Wow. Is building community and pride and positivity, just keeping people together, keep the motivation going, keep the foot on the gas. Like we are climbing, and we're climbing strong. We don't need to plateau. So my vision is to keep us pushing. It helps absorb all the little bumps in the road we get on the way, and you get in life. So if you get a few bumps, it knocks you back. But as long as you're climbing, you're always climbing. My vision is a great town, and it's happening. We've been marketing hard marketing hard to bring people here. When the people in Ontario were looking for homes, when they clicked the right queue on there, we popped up. We paid for that. And so that's coming. And then plus you look at the influx of people now, I mean, so that's even gone crazy. So we got to embrace that again. Go right back to housing again. We got to get housing. If we don't have housing, we can't get people. We're at a standstill, really, in a way. You got to have new development now to bring in more people. It's almost, you know, it's the only way to do it. So you got to stay focused on that. So my vision would be to keep focused on that, keep everyone together, keep doing what I'm just, like I said, I can't be more proud of it. Just keep doing what we're doing. You know, we're working together. You know, we're known here in St. Stephen for taking action and not just sitting there waiting for the province to help. And we did that, and we got recognized for that by the Premier. And he said he started using St. Stephen for an example. You know, so this is what you should be doing in other regions. You know, getting together and taking action yourselves, and just it works, man. If you bring people together, it works. And keep positive. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Allan. Vernon, same question. What is your long-range vision for St. Stephen, and how do you hope to accomplish this? Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, my long-range vision has to be vetted by the community. I feel that we need to get out and have an opportunity for the community to get in here to determine what they say. Where do they want this town to be? I want a healthy town. I want an emotionally healthy, a physically healthy town. And that has to be, the input has to come from the community. When we come to a vision that everybody agrees to, not everybody, but a compromise, then we have to put a plan together. And then we have to look at who our partners are. And again, it's attracting businesses. But again, my vision is not what is important, it's the vision of the town. And also too, you know, a mayor is 1 of 7 in council. And so therefore, it's just not what I want, it's what the council and the input from the community want. So it's a vision that is a community vision. We have to provide guidance, we have to have expertise to come in. And again, we've talked about it. It's economic development, a sustainable plan. It is growth. You know, it's 1,000 jobs in 5 years. I say if the community wants it, 2,500 jobs in 10 years. But again, it's controlled. It's not just going after numbers. It's what do we want this town to look like, and what type of industry we want here. So that's it's a community-focused strategic direction, and the council and the mayor has a responsibility there of trying to put what the town wants to move forward.
Vernon, you're up again for question 14, just 2 questions left. What will be done so that dispute over local recreational fields is solved? The youth in our town are the ones suffering when, during these trying times especially, outdoor activities should be encouraged, not withdrawn because maintenance agreements cannot be reached. Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that we have to have a recreational plan. I understand that we're working with the Service Commission to have a regional reclamation plan. And again, if we're looking at outdoor facilities, we're looking at the ability to have them prepared so that people can use them. And the COVID has been quite challenging. I mean, I've seen kids play soccer with masks on. It must be challenging. I've seen them play basketball with masks on. How do you expect them, you know, to get out of? It has to be enjoyable. So I know that there is a recreational plan. I know there's one that's being developed in conjunction with the other communities, and we have to find the funds. And I agree that physical activity, having kids outside, is important. As I said before, we need to have a physically healthy community, and that means back into the schools, ensure, you know, dealing with our health system, but also that the kids have physical facilities to work in. I love soccer. I love baseball. I love the Milltown courts. I'm almost tempted to take my basketball and go try it, but then I would look too bad. But there is a need for that, and there's a need to find the funding for that. And there is Recreation Canada, there's Recreation New Brunswick in the provincial government. It's a challenge. It's challenging COVID. It was challenged when it rains every second day. But I think that it's a priority.
Thank you, Vernon. Allan, what will be done so that dispute over our local recreational fields is solved? The youth in our town are the ones suffering when, during these trying times especially, outdoor activities should be encouraged, not withdrawn because maintenance agreements cannot be reached. Your 2 minutes start now.
I'm going to try and be polite when I answer this question. So yes, there is an issue with the user owners of the fields. We're dealing with that. I'm not going to get into too many of the details right now because I'm still waiting for a response. So I'm going to play nice a little bit. But the biggest issue we have right now is communication. We're not communicating with the province on what they're doing with their fields. It's end of story. If they're going to look after them, fine. Let us know that you're going to look after them. The residents are all waiting. They want to know, are you going to fix these fields? If not, arrange an agreement with the town. But that doesn't happen in seconds. It needs to be discussed. We had a good agreement for years. We need to follow through and look after our residents. It's a tough time. People are all locked up in their homes. The sun's coming out. We need the people to get out. And they're all watching these fields, and no one's doing anything to them. And we as a town can't even answer the question because the province hasn't let us know what they're going to do. Like I said, I have some of my emails and stress the importance of communication. Yeah, there's dollars involved, but the biggest problem is communication. We can't answer the questions, and we need to get there. Soon, I'm supposed to hear back. They were supposed to meet on last Wednesday. I haven't heard back from their meeting on Wednesday. So we'll get into that at a later date. That's just plain and simple. Like I said, if we got people coming out of COVID, we need them to be able to get out and, again, answer the question. Again, they could be looking after it, but they haven't told us yet. I don't think so because they haven't answered me quick enough yet. So I'm guessing they don't have a plan, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me, but let's get that answer to the citizens out there and let them know that they're going to have fields to play on. End of story.
We are at the last question, if you can believe it. And again, for people watching at home, neither of you heard these questions before. I'm reading them for the first time, so I just want to commend you on what excellent and thoughtful answers you've given. One more to go, and Allan, you are up. What additional businesses and community services do you think should be the next priority for the town? Your 2 minutes start now.
Yeah, there's just so many. I like to myself personally see some more small groceries type setups downstairs. I spoke earlier about the experience. The people are looking for that experience. I think we gotta provide that experience. We are, as the trail gets completed, you're going to see more sporting, recreation type stores setting up. There's discussions about that. So I'm looking forward to those. Wow, there's so many things have happened. It's just, there are a lot of them are already in place. Someone mentioned earlier about the chamber, how energized that is. Well, I don't know. I've been to the first chamber meeting when it was a small one. Now it's just huge. There's so many of those businesses, and they're all working together. And I'm going to tell you, I've been to the chamber meetings, and you learn a lot of information from these businesses and learn their challenges and stuff. And it's just an amazing way to get together and work. So, the businesses are coming. You're seeing them. I don't know what more. We've got all the different flavors of down on the street downtown now. But again, I think you're going to see bike repair shops coming out, sporting, recreation, a few more food retail type, small grocery stores close to home because you want to start being green in the community. What better way to get back to the little corner stores and that? So that stuff's coming to life again. So I can see a little bit more of that. I'm probably forgetting something, but the stopwatch is getting me stopping, so I'm going to stop.
Thank you, Allan. Vernon, what additional businesses and community services do you think should be the next priority for the town? Your 2 minutes start now.
I look at the community services. We have a lot of seniors, and I think that the town should be looking at some way of hearing and getting the voice of the seniors as to what the town can do for them. Maybe we could be an advocate for them. But there's a lot of seniors in the electorate here. There's a lot of senior residents. So I think I would consider proposing a senior director within the town. Basically, it may not be staff, but it will be a focus on listening and helping them. The other one is working with the Charlotte County Hospital with regards to wellness, working with mental health, working with addiction. Now, these are health care, but I think it's a community service. We can work in conjunction with the Charlotte County Hospital to provide more services to our community. I have a report that came out today on the Charlotte County Hospital. It is the most critical infrastructure in this town. If we don't have the hospital, and if it isn't growing, forget about residents coming here, forget about growth. So there are three services. One, in partnership with the hospital with regards to mental health, with addiction, and also having a senior director within town to oversee what do we need for seniors in this town, because that's a large portion of our population.
Thank you, Vernon. We've come to the end of the question period. So thank you both. We have the power on television to obviously cut mics if we need to. We didn't have to do that. So I want to thank you both for being so respectful of each other and for giving such thoughtful answers to the voters at home. Because we started with Vernon Card for opening remarks, Allan, we're going to start with you for closing statements. You have 5 minutes to give us your closing remarks starting now.
Yes, well, I don't think it's an opportunity to, to clarify a few things that have been brought up this evening, and just to, more information. Talking about involving the community, Vern brought up. Future St. Stephen was developed on that principle. We had a large town hall. It was full. Everyone came in with all their ideas and Post-it notes. It was an amazing day. That's how Future St. Stephen started. So, and that's how we got to where we are today, was the people, the community, what they wanted in their community. So we did that. We acted on that, and that's a big we. There's a whole lot of people. Mental health was talked about tonight. Mental health is not just dealt with in a hospital. Mental health has to be dealt with in your community as well. So I've been working hard at trying to encourage any fixes, because the problems is getting pressured into doing things at the hospital level, but it's all about the community that everyone's in. You need to work, you need to prevent it from happening in the first place if you can. You can't prevent them all, but you got to prevent as much as you can. You can't let people push them across that line, because once you cross that line, there's no return. It's just constantly looking after it the rest of your life. So we got to work on that as well, and that's all about community, a great place to live, and keeping people healthy, keeping people active. Recreation helps with that. We're working on that. Yes, we're working on a recreational master plan as well, which involves the whole region. Power and numbers, like I talked about. Everyone working together, not duplicating services. Working with user groups, or not user groups, sorry. The Rotaries, the Kiwanis, those groups on getting things done. They're already thinking maybe just not building. Maybe we got to help our citizens with getting things connected. Let's say it's a mental health issue. They'll be that connector for you. We're looking at that. It's because things are complicated for seniors. They can call, but those calls aren't easy. You almost need a negotiator to do those calls for you. Well, we're working on that, and we're looking at a way of helping the people do that. Street work. Yes, there's lots of street work that needs to be done. We're working at ways of making our town crew more efficient, getting rid of our town crew out, picking up brush and leaves. We're subbing that out so they can do more street work. We've been working on that. Hospitals, yes, of course we're working on that. That's definitely, it's a very important thing to have in your community. You have to have it or people won't come. Policing, working hard at that. That's another serious issue we have in any community. Policing is an issue all across Canada. But anyway, working on getting a new developed building in our town that's more efficient. It's going to help with doing more activity in our community, not dragging them off the court. They're going to be set up to do court right online. That's the sign of the times. So court, working on and that'll help with the whole 2 officers leaving your community. So to take someone to court, well, now they can stay here and be active in the community. All that's going to be more efficient. Again, I love economic development, everybody. Please don't take this away from me, because I love it and I want to keep doing it. I've learned so much. I come in this green, no question, I come in this green. But like I said, I sat down with a group of people and I've soaked it all up like a sponge, and I want to keep doing it. And I want to work with that group of people and keep new people coming into that group. You'd be amazed at people that have moved here just a few years ago that are actually on that Future St. Stephen board and taking part of their community. It's amazing thing to be part of. One of my favorite roles. Basketball court, we're working hard on that. That's important. That's the oldest basketball court in the world. Tourism, it's just amazing. Basketball Hall of Fame's behind it. I want to continue pushing for that. Yeah, the hotel, still working on it. It's going to take some time. It's aggravating. Yes, everything's in place. We got 2 things in place, and nothing happened yet. I get it. I'm as frustrated as everyone else out there, but at least they're trying. These guys are trying, If they wanted to build, they'd be built. And, they're doing their best. Again, they got to encourage investment. We're building on that. As long as we keep building our community, we're going to build the business case for that to happen. So I'm going to keep pushing on that. I just really want you guys to, everybody out there, everyone in the community, to really support me, keep me going. I'm not ready to stop. I want to bring up another quick little thing. I come across this old thing that I put out 9 years ago, and all the things I wanted to do, they're all checked off. Waterfront enhancement, market St. Stephen, the broad range increased tax base, improve sidewalk, sewers, and all those things. Promote public involvement in decision making. Done all those things, and we're still doing it. And I got a great team behind us. Thank you.
Vernon, you have 5 minutes for your closing remarks, starting right now.
Well, first of all, I hope we answered the questions. A lot of our answers were fairly similar because there's only certain solutions you can have. The town of St. Stephen is a $1 million enterprise, and I have the expertise in providing guidance to $1 million enterprise. The CAO is the CEO of this town. I look at it from the point of view of providing oversight and working with the council to implement the strategies that we need to implement. The town has to have a vision, and I feel that working with council and working with the community, we will develop a vision, and that we'll implement. Almost everything we talked about tonight, I have significantly more information on my Facebook page, and it's facebook.com/Vernon Card for Mayor. I have discussion papers on policing, discussion papers on economic development, discussion papers on health servants. Starting tomorrow, I'll have 7 videos coming out on every one of these issues. Including tomorrow, it will be the specialties on the dam. To me, I don't even want to use the words here to describe MB Power as to what's happening with the dam. That is something that is, well, I won't say it. Tomorrow, and people that are watching won't be tomorrow, but you have already received a flyer that's going out in the mail tomorrow, and it's just basically who I am and the issues. And one of the challenges, Allan probably know, you can't go door to door in a campaign now. So how do you communicate to individuals? You can't do door knockers. You can't put something on the door. But for some reason, the postal officer, he can touch this and give it to everybody. So that will be there tomorrow. And the other area is that I feel you need to have a full-time mayor. And I'm prepared to do that. I ask for your support. This Saturday is the first day of the advanced polls. I ask you to support me and vote Saturday and Monday. I ask you to vote May 10th, which is the election date. I think that together with the community that we can create positive change and a prosperity for this town. And finally, I'd like to thank the Chamber and Vicki and your TV CHCO for hosting this event. And I want to thank Allan. This has been I've learned a lot tonight from him. So thank you.
Thank you, Vernon. I've learned so much about you both too, and I want to thank you both for joining us tonight. You're both clearly passionate about your community, and you've given voters so much to think about. So thank you, and thank you for being respectful of each other and making this such a pleasure to moderate. I will leave final words to Sarah Conley, President of the St. Stephen and Area Chamber of Commerce.
So thank you so much to Vicki, our moderator tonight, as well as our partners of the town of St. Stephen and St. Croix Courier, and of course everyone here at CHCO-TV for being able to put this production together. I'd also obviously like to thank the candidates. Best wishes to you both. As a small business owner myself and as a local representative for businesses in the area, I know how important local government is and how good local representation can really make a big difference. So I'd like to say it's really important to get out and vote on May 10th. And the town of St. Stephen, the voter cards should be in the mail this week. They should be in your hands this week. So make sure you, if you don't receive that card, get on the website Elections NB, and hope to see everyone out on May 10th. Thank you.